It started in the most normal place, a gas station bathroom. I had just finished filling up my tank late at night, maybe around 11:30 p.m. I went inside to grab a soda, then stopped by the bathroom. The flickering light above the mirror was annoying, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get home. While washing my hands, I noticed something written on the bathroom stall door in black marker. It was a phone number. No name, no message. Just a number. 7079465007. At first, I ignored it. People write all kinds of weird stuff on bathroom walls. But something about this one made me look at it longer than I should have. It wasn't crossed out or covered with anything. It looked fresh, like someone wrote it that day, maybe even minutes before I got there. And then, this stupid thought hit me. What if I just call it? Just for fun. Just to see. I know it sounds dumb, but I was bored, curious, maybe even a little lonely that night. So I stepped outside into the quiet parking lot and pulled out my phone. I dialed the number. It didn't even ring once. There was just this sound, like wind, or breathing. Very slow, heavy breathing. I held the phone to my ear, waiting for someone to speak, maybe a prank or some weird joke. But all I got was that soft, dragging breath. And then I heard it. A whisper. It said, "You finally called." My heart froze. I pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at the screen. There was no number showing. No caller ID. It just said, "Unknown," and the call timer was already at 13 seconds. I ended the call immediately. I stood there in the middle of the gas station parking lot, phone still in my hand, unsure what had just happened. But I told myself it was nothing. Maybe a recording. Maybe just a creepy voice someone set up to scare people who called. I laughed it off, got in my car and drove home. That should have been the end. But later that night, I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone when it rang. Same number. Unknown caller. The screen went dark the second I answered. Just like before, I heard the breathing. But this time, it was faster. Closer. Then the whisper came again. "You opened the door." I didn't sleep that night. I left the phone off and tossed it under my bed, but I couldn't stop thinking about the voice. That number. The way it spoke like it knew me. Like it had been waiting. And then, around 3 a.m., something even worse happened. My landline rang. I hadn't used that thing in months. I only kept it because of some old subscription I forgot to cancel. Nobody ever called me on it. I picked it up with a shaky hand. But there was no one on the line. Only a sound. Screaming. Very far away. Faint. Like someone screaming from the bottom of a cave. Or from under the ground. I didn't say a word. I couldn't. I just stood there, hand on the phone, heart pounding so hard I thought it would stop. And then click. The line went dead. I didn't call anyone. I didn't tell anyone. I just sat in the dark, wondering what I had just let into my life. And then my cell phone screen lit up again. The number was back. Only this time, it was showing as my own number. That was the moment I realized. Whatever I had called, it wasn't just a number. It was something else. And it wasn't done with me. After that night, I didn't touch my phone for a whole day. I left it off, face down on my dresser, as if avoiding it would make everything go away. But the silence didn't help. It felt like something was watching me. Not from outside, but from inside the house. Every time I passed a mirror or looked into a dark corner, I expected to see something standing there, waiting. By evening, I finally turned the phone back on. No missed calls. No voicemails. No texts. Like nothing had happened. But the second I tried to call my friend Josh, the screen glitched. Lines ran across it, and for a split second, the screen flashed that same number from the bathroom stall, but written in red this time. Then it cut off. No dial tone. No ring. Just static. I dropped the phone on the table. I didn't call Josh again. I didn't call anyone. And from that moment, I started noticing things, little things, that didn't feel right. My radio turned on by itself that night. It wasn't even plugged in. And when I walked past the bathroom mirror around 2 a.m., I swear, I saw someone else's face next to mine. Only for a second. But it wasn't mine. It wasn't anyone I knew. I tried sleeping, but I kept waking up, not from nightmares, but from whispers. Real whispers. From my phone. It wasn't even ringing. It just glowed in the dark. A faint blue light coming from the screen like it was trying to call me instead. When I finally picked it up, the screen was blank, but the phone was warm, like someone had been holding it. I threw it under a pillow and went downstairs. That's when the landline rang again. 3 short rings. Then silence. I didn't pick it up this time. I just stood in the hallway, staring at it like it was going to explode. My heart was racing. Then I heard footsteps above me. In my room. But I live alone. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stood there, frozen until the sound stopped. I wanted to believe it was in my head. But the next morning, when I finally had the courage to go upstairs, I found something written on my bedroom mirror. With a finger. Answer next time. And below it, that number again. Still fresh. Still there. Still waiting. That message on the mirror haunted me all day. I cleaned it off before the sun came up, but I could still feel it there. Even after it was gone, it felt like the mirror was watching me. Like whatever left that message didn't just disappear. It was still nearby. Still waiting. I didn't go to work. I didn't leave the house. I just sat in the living room with the curtains shut and the lights on. Around 1:17 p.m., the phone rang again. It was that number. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times, then it stopped. No voicemail. No missed call logged. It was like it had never happened. But I heard it. And this time, something new happened. My TV turned on by itself. Just static. No sound. Just snow on the screen. I stood up slowly, not sure if I was more angry or scared. But then, behind the white fuzz of the screen, a shape started to form. It wasn't clear. It looked like a silhouette. The person? Maybe. But something was wrong with the way it moved. Like it was stuttering between frames, not walking but jumping, like an old VHS tape. Then the screen flickered and turned black. Right after that, my phone lit up again. One new voicemail. I didn't want to listen. I really didn't. But I couldn't help it. I had to know. When I pressed play, the message was only 6 seconds long. But I'll never forget it. At first, just static. Then a voice. Not whispering this time. It said, "I see you now." Then nothing. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. I didn't care. For a second, I thought maybe that was it. Maybe breaking it would stop everything. But later that night, it got worse. While I was brushing my teeth, the lights flickered, and I heard something behind me. Not footsteps. Breathing. Slow. Right next to my ear. I turned around, fast, heart racing, but no one was there. And then, the cracked phone, all the way on the floor across the room, started vibrating. It lit up, buzzing nonstop. The screen was shattered, but I could still read the number. The same number. It kept vibrating for 30 full seconds. Then stopped. When I picked it up, shaking, barely able to breathe, there was a new message. It simply said, "You shouldn't have called." And under it, a time. 3:33 a.m. I didn't sleep that night. Because I knew something was coming. Something that only waited in the dark. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I just sat in bed, holding the broken phone, waiting for the time to change. 3:33 a.m. That time kept flashing in my head like it meant something. Something bad. I stared at the clock all night. Each minute felt longer than the last. At exactly 3:32, the room got cold. Freezing cold. The kind of cold that makes your breath show in the air. I could hear the clock ticking. 3:33 a.m. The phone lit up. Even with the cracked screen, the number was clear. That number. I didn't answer, but this time it answered itself. The speaker turned on by itself, and the room filled with a whisper. But it wasn't just one voice. It was many. Whispers layered on whispers, all saying the same word over and over. Come. It was like a chant. My head started to hurt. My ears were ringing. I tried to turn the phone off, take out the battery, anything, but it wouldn't stop. I dropped it, covered my ears. The lights flickered once, then went out. And in that darkness, I felt it. A presence. Not just in the room. Behind me. I didn't want to turn around, but I did. There was nothing there, except the mirror across from my bed. And in that mirror, I saw myself. But I wasn't alone. There was a shadow, standing right behind me. Vigor, black, tall and still. I turned around fast. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. The shadow was still there. And now it was closer. I grabbed a blanket, covered the mirror, and ran out of the room. I didn't go back in until the sun came up. I didn't touch the phone all day. But when I checked it the next night, there was a new voicemail. No number. Just unknown. The message was 3 seconds long. You looked away. And then a laugh. Like it was right outside my door. I didn't leave my house the next day. I stayed by the windows, checking every shadow, every sound. It felt like someone, or something, was watching me. My phone didn't ring. Not once. But that silence was worse than the calls. It was like waiting for a scream. Then, just after midnight, I got a text. No number. Just one word. Window. I froze. My living room window was right behind me. I didn't want to turn around. I really didn't, but I had to. Slowly, I turned my head. At first, I didn't see anything. Just darkness. Then a shape moved. Only for a second. A tall figure, outside, just beyond the glass. I rushed to the window and yanked the curtains shut. My hands were shaking. I locked every door, every window. Turned on every light. I was alone. I knew I was alone. But I didn't feel alone. I sat on the couch, clutching my phone like it was some kind of weapon. And then it rang. That same number. But no name, no location, just ringing. I thought maybe if I answered, it would stop. So I did. At first, silence. Then a click. And then a voice I hadn't heard before. It was mine. My voice. Whispering, "Don't hang up. They're inside." I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and fell to the floor, still lit up, still active. My own voice kept talking. Wrong. If you stop listening, they'll show you everything. I unplugged the phone, took out the battery, and threw it into a drawer. It kept glowing. No battery. Still whispering. The whispers stopped only when the sun started rising. But just before they did, I swear I heard one last message. Clearer than the rest. A different voice. Don't sleep tonight. Watch the hallway. And then, silence again. But I didn't sleep. I watched the hallway all night. And just before dawn, I saw something walk past the doorway. Something that didn't cast a shadow. I didn't move for hours. I just stared at that hallway. I didn't even blink much. Because I saw it. Something passed by my doorway. But there was no sound. No weight. And no shadow. I kept trying to tell myself it was just my imagination. That I was tired. Sleep deprived. Delusional. But then I heard the softest creak. One single floorboard. It came from the end of the hallway, near my bedroom. I grabbed a flashlight and moved as quietly as I could. Every step felt like walking on glass. I reached the hallway, pitch black. I took a deep breath and turned on the flashlight. The beam shook in my hand, my pulse thudding in my ears. Nothing was there, but the air felt heavy, like something invisible was standing right in front of me. I waved the light back and forth. Still nothing. Then I noticed something on the wall. A word, scratched into the paint. Listen. That wasn't there before. I was sure of it. I stepped back. My flashlight dimmed slightly. The bulb flickered. Then my phone rang. It was still locked in the drawer. I hadn't touched it since last night. I ran to it, opened the drawer. It was glowing. The screen showed only this. Unknown number calling. I answered it. No whispering this time. Just breathing. Slow. What? Right into my ear. Then a voice, low, unfamiliar, angry. You stopped listening. And the call ended. Immediately after, all the lights in my house went out. The flashlight blinked and died. And in that total darkness, I heard footsteps walking toward me. But they weren't coming from the hallway anymore. They were inside the room, right behind me. I didn't want to turn around. Every part of me screamed, "Don't look." But the footsteps had stopped. They were behind me, silent now, like whatever was there wanted me to move first. My hand slowly reached for the flashlight again. I shook it. Nothing. Still dead. I was stuck in the dark, surrounded by cold air and silence. Then I felt it. A breath, right on the back of my neck. It was warm. Too real. I spun around fast, swinging my arm in the air. Nothing. No one. But I wasn't alone. I could feel it. I grabbed my phone and turned on the screen for light. The dim glow lit just a few feet ahead, but it was enough to see one terrifying thing. My living room mirror was fogged over, like someone had just breathed on it. I stepped closer. There was something written in the fog from the inside. Answer when I call. I didn't know what this thing wanted, or why it chose me, but now it was getting angry. I tried calling the number back. I wanted to end this. I wanted to understand. But the screen only flashed. Number cannot be dialed. No ringtone. No connection. Just a dead end. I dropped the phone in panic. Then, suddenly, music started playing. Old jazz. From the 1940s maybe. It was coming from my bedroom. But I don't even own a radio. I moved toward the sound, heart pounding so hard it made my ears ring. The bedroom door was cracked open. I pushed it, and there, on the floor, was an old, dusty rotary phone. Not mine. I had never seen it before. It rang once, but I couldn't help it, I answered. The voice on the other end whispered, "You're finally home." Then the bedroom door slammed shut behind me. The rotary phone was still in my hand, but the line had gone dead. I tried to open the door behind me, but not just stuck, like it was sealed shut. The room grew colder. My breath turned to fog in the air. The music had stopped, but I could still hear something, scratching, very faint, coming from under the bed. I didn't want to check, but I knew deep down this was part of it. The number, the voice, the mirrors, the whispers. It was all leading here. I knelt slowly. The floor felt ice cold. I peeked under the bed. At first, there was nothing, just darkness. Then two pale hands reached out, fast, grabbing the floor and dragging something toward me. I fell backward, hitting my head on the dresser. When I looked again, it was gone. No hands, no body, but in its place, there was a small cassette tape, just lying there, waiting. I picked it up. No label, no markings, just a number carved into the plastic. 8. And then my cell phone buzzed. The screen said, "Voicemail from unknown number." I played it. The same music from before played softly, and then a voice whispered, "Play the tape." I didn't even own a cassette player. But as I stepped into the hallway, dazed, scared, I noticed something new, a tape recorder sitting on my kitchen table. It hadn't been there before. The light on it was blinking red. I pushed the tape in slowly. It clicked. Then a voice, my own voice, spoke from the machine. If you're hearing this, it's already started. Do not ignore the next call. Then silence. I stood there frozen, because I had never recorded that message. Not ever. And I had no memory of saying those words. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I sat at the edge of my bed, staring at the phone on my desk, waiting, dreading. Every little sound in my apartment made me jump. That message, my own voice telling me, it's already started, played over and over in my head like a curse. By 3 a.m., the air felt heavy, almost like it was pressing down on me. That's when the phone rang again. Same number. No name. Just unknown. I picked it up with shaking hands. This time, it was a woman's voice. So cold. And so close, like she was whispering directly into my ear. She said, "Do you see it now?" I didn't respond. I couldn't. Then she whispered again, "Behind you." I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty room. My lamp. I didn't move for a long time. After I turned and saw nothing behind me, I kept staring at that empty corner of the room. My breath felt stuck in my throat. My heart was loud, like it was pounding against my ribs, trying to get out. The phone was still in my hand, but the line was dead. No sound at all. No dial tone. No buzz. Just silent. I turned on every light in the apartment, even the ones I usually never use. I didn't care about the electricity bill anymore. I just needed to feel like I was in control. I tried to tell myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was tired. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe someone somehow recorded my voice. But I didn't believe any of that. At 6 a.m., the sun came up, but I still didn't feel calm. When I looked at the mirror in my hallway, I froze. There was something written in the foggy glass. 4 words, smeared in a finger trail. Don't ignore the call. I hadn't taken a shower. There was no reason for the mirror to be fogged up. And I definitely didn't write that. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't the usual number. Looked broken. A string of strange symbols and question marks. I stared at it until it stopped ringing. Then 1 second later, it buzzed again. And again. The screen stayed lit, vibrating over and over until the phone got hot in my hand. I finally answered. A deep, rattling breath came through the speaker. Not words. Not even a voice. Just breathing. And then it said one word, low and guttural. Soon. My hands went cold. It wasn't just a prank. This wasn't just a phone call. It was a warning. And I think it was already too late. After that last call, I stopped answering my phone. I turned off the ringer. I placed it face down and tried to act like it wasn't there. But I couldn't stop hearing it. Not ringing. Not buzzing. Just that breathing. The slow, wet, rasping breath I heard through the line that night. It wasn't coming from the phone anymore. It was in my room. In the dark. The first time I heard it, I thought it was just in my head. I froze in bed, listening, holding my breath to make sure it wasn't mine. But it kept going. Steady. Slow. Just beyond the edge of my bed, like something crouched low, just watching me. I turned on the light. Nothing was there. I didn't sleep. The next day, I left my apartment for hours. Went to the mall. Walked aimlessly. Sat in a crowded coffee shop, hoping that being around people would make it stop. But it didn't. At 3:17 p.m., my phone rang again, even though it was off. I had powered it down completely, and yet the screen lit up. That number, the one made of symbols and glitches, was back. I didn't pick up. Instead, I threw the phone into the trash outside a grocery store and walked away fast. That night I felt better. Lighter. I was finally free from it. But the breathing came back. Louder this time. It followed me through the apartment, room to room. Then the landline rang. I don't have a landline. I don't even own that kind of phone. The sound was old. Crackling. I followed it, heart pounding, toward the hallway. And there it was, an old rotary phone, the kind from the 70s, just sitting on the hallway floor. But, does it ringing? I had never seen it before in my life. I stepped closer. The phone stopped. Instead, I heard it speak through the receiver, without anyone touching it. Don't run. Then the hallway light above me blinked once. And the voice added, we're almost through. Almost through what? And who was we? I backed away slowly, feeling something move behind me. Not a sound. Just a shift in the air. The phone clicked once more. And then it said my full name. First, middle, and last. No one calls me by my middle name. Except my grandmother, who's been dead for 7 years. I didn't sleep at all after the hallway phone spoke my full name. How could I? I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, a kitchen knife in one hand and my eyes locked on that old black phone. It didn't ring again. It didn't move. But I didn't trust it. I kept thinking, how did it get here? Who brought it in? My door was locked. My windows were shut. And yet, it was here. In the morning, I finally stood up and grabbed a towel. I didn't want to touch the phone directly. I wrapped it in the towel, careful not to let the receiver fall off, and carried it outside. I walked 2 blocks to a dumpster behind a gas station and threw it in. Done. I told myself that again and again as I walked home. But when I reached my apartment, I found something waiting for me on my welcome mat. The same phone, neatly placed, like a gift. It wasn't dirty or cracked from being tossed into a metal bin. It looked cleaner somehow. Newer. I felt sick. I turned around and went to stay at a hotel for the night. But I didn't get peace there either. That night, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. again, and my hotel room phone was off the hook. I hadn't touched it. The dial tone was gone. Instead, I heard whispers. No words, just breathy voices. Like dozens of them, all whispering at once. I slammed the receiver back on the base and backed away. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. At sunrise, I checked out early and went straight to a tech store. I bought a brand new phone, set up a new number, knew everything. No way for anyone, or anything, to reach me. I felt good for the first time in days. But that feeling only lasted until I opened my car door. Sitting in the driver's seat was the old black phone. Receiver resting gently off the hook. And just before I could scream, it spoke again. This time, answer. Then it rang. Twice. And the third time, the voice of my grandmother came through. It's not just calling you anymore, she said. It's calling them too. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was my sister. A text. Just 2 words. It answered. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew whatever this was, it was spreading. I didn't want to call my sister back. Something about her message. It answered. Felt wrong. Like she wasn't the one who sent it. But I had no choice. I had to know she was okay. I hit call. It rang once. Twice. Then I heard the click. But it wasn't her voice. It was a low, raspy sound. Breathing. Then soft, wet whispers. Then silence. Until I heard it. She let it in. I hung up. This wasn't just haunting me anymore. It had reached my family. I drove to my sister's place as fast as I could. When I arrived, the front door was open a few inches. Not broken. Not forced. Just waiting. The air inside was cold. Too cold. Her phone was on the floor in the hallway. The screen cracked. One long, black line across the front like a scar. I called out her name. No answer. Then I heard a soft hum. A quiet, deep tone coming from the living room. I followed it. And there, sitting on her coffee table, was the old black phone. But something was different this time. It was glowing. A faint red light pulsing underneath the dial. The hum got louder. I looked around the room and saw drawings, dozens of them, scribbled in charcoal or ash. Circles. Eyes. A phone cord wrapped around a skull-like shape. One of the drawings looked like me. The phone rang. I stepped back. It rang again. And then I heard her, my sister's voice, coming from the phone speaker, not the receiver. It's inside the signal now. It's not just a voice. It's becoming a thing. A presence. It's listening through every device. Then static. High-pitched and sharp. I dropped the phone and covered my ears. The room flickered like a strobe light. Off, on, off, on. Then silence. And in that silence, I saw my sister, standing at the end of the hallway. She was staring at me, but her eyes, they were completely black. She raised her arm and pointed at the phone. "It's your turn now," she said. Then she was gone. Not walked away. Gone. Like smoke. And behind me, the phone began ringing again. For times. 6. I didn't answer, but I knew I would. So I didn't even hear the phone ring this time. It was just the lit up. That same number. No sound, no buzz, just glowing on the screen like it was waiting for me. I stared at it for a long time, heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to answer, but I also knew I would. Always did. I picked it up. Slowly. This time, there were no whispers. No screams. Just breathing. Not fast or panicked. Slow. Heavy. Like someone was sitting right beside me. I didn't say anything. I didn't move. I just listened. Then it spoke, low, raspy, like the voice had been crawling through broken glass to reach me. "Stop trying to run." That was all. The call ended by itself. And that was worse than anything else that had happened so far. I started shaking. I wasn't trying to run. Was I? I thought about throwing the phone away again, but it didn't matter. I knew better now. It would come back. Just like before. But this time, something was different. Every mirror in my apartment had fogged up, like someone had been breathing on them. I wiped one with my sleeve and froze. There was something behind me in the reflection. Not fully visible, just a dark shape. A human shape. I spun around. Nothing. But when I turned back to the mirror, it was still there. Standing still. Watching me. And on the mirror, written in streaks of moisture, were 3 words. "You called me." I backed away, heart racing. The air felt heavier. My ears started ringing, and my vision blurred for a moment. When I blinked, the words were gone. But I knew now this wasn't just some haunting from a phone call. I had opened something, and it had found a way in. I thought the nightmare would end if I stopped answering the calls. I left the phone in the freezer. I unplugged the landline. I smashed the screen with a hammer. But none of it mattered. That number still rang. Tonight, I woke up at 3:12 a.m. Not because of a phone. Not because of a sound. Because someone whispered my name right beside my ear. But I was alone. Thought I was. I grabbed a flashlight and walked slowly down the hallway. Every step felt like walking into ice. The walls were cold. Too cold. And there was something strange. The hallway looked longer than before. Like it had stretched while I was sleeping. At the end of the hall, the old rotary phone I didn't even own sat on a table I didn't remember having. Pring. Not the usual sound. A deep, echoing tone that felt like it was coming from inside my chest. I didn't want to answer, but my hand moved without thinking. I picked it up. There was no breathing this time, no voice, just silence, and then a sound like something sliding across concrete. Then a whisper, barely louder than a thought. "You asked for this." The call ended. Suddenly, the walls began to bleed shadows. Thick, moving shapes crawling out from every crack. The hum of the line didn't stop, just changed into a low growl that vibrated through the floor. I ran back to my room, but it wasn't my room anymore. It was empty, but endless. And standing in the center of it was a figure holding a phone. My phone. They raised it slowly. Ring. And now, I'm still here. Still answering. Still listening. Because the worst part of all of this? I'm starting to understand the voices.